Walking Tomb Dreng's A1 reads, attacks one enemy 2 times, instantly activates any HP burn debuffs on the target after attacking. But did you know that this skill inexplicably doesn't require accuracy? What is up guys, this is Cobb and welcome to a whole bunch of champs in Raid, or at least champs that I could find, that just seem to either be busted or have super misleading tooltips and just work in a different way than you might expect. Walking Tomb Dreng is the one that I'm going to start off with because actually on his A2, it reads attack all enemies, place an HP ban, this debuff cannot be resisted. So on his A2, it includes the this debuff cannot be resisted, meaning he doesn't need accuracy. But for whatever reason, this little line of text was not included on the A1, even though it cannot be resisted either. And so including the Walking Tomb Dreng, I've got 6 champs in total that I'm going to be covering in this video. And if you can think of any along the way as we go, make sure to drop them down below in the comments. For now, we are off to Shadowbones. And there he is, man. Good old Shadowbones of the Ogryn tribes. Pulled this guy from an ancient shard, read his kit, and I thought to myself, oh my god, I've pulled a piece of crap, okay? His A3 places a weak version of decreased speed on all enemies for 2 turns and gives allies some turn meter fill. It's on a 5-turn cooldown booked, man. It's crazy as hell, okay, how crappy that is. The A2 attacks all enemies 3 times, okay, triple hitter AoE, has a 75% chance to decrease the turn meter by 30%. Even the wording of that is sus and should be setting some alarm bells ringing in your noggin right now, man, because yeah, this skill does not work as it is written. How this skill should read is has a 75% chance booked per hit to decrease the turn meter of enemies by 30%, okay? It's a triple hitter and every single individual hit has a chance to decrease turn meter by 30%. It's an incredible 10 meter control skill. It is on a 4-turn cooldown and the rest of his kit is obviously a little bit lackluster, but this A2 is very, very good and Shadowbones is fantastic as a control champ to bring into secret rooms and faction wars and that kind of thing. You just wouldn't think it based on the way this A2 is written. It makes it sound as if it just has one chance to reduce turn meter by 30%, you know? Honestly, I think this is probably the most egregious, like, tooltip screw-up that we're going to be covering in the entire video. If anybody can find one that's worse than this, and is more misleading than this, I'd actually be impressed and disappointed, I guess, in equal measure. Before we go into the next piece of crap, good old Rector Drath, man. You can get this champion for free alongside Tagore simply by signing up to Raid using my promo link down below, man. Sign up to Raid using that link and you'll get Tagore upon sign up, and Rector Drath at account level 25 is one of the best beginner promo links going. And every sign up does help to support the channel massively. Just make sure that you are signed out of Plarium Play before clicking that link so you create a new Plarium ID when making your new account, such that you guarantee that you're going to get your hands on those saucy new account rewards. Next up, Juliana. Another tooltip. What would you even call it? Betrayal is the word that I'm going to go for. How about that, man? Dude, my promo link back in the day when I first started off this channel actually used to award Juliana as the sign-up champ, and I never knew about the screw-up in the tooltip of her A2. It reads, places a 30% increased crit rate buff on this champ for 2 turns, then attacks one enemy 2 times. Places a poison debuff on the target for 3 turns if this attack is critical. Can you see the mistake? I bet you can't. I'd be impressed if you know about it already. But if you don't know about it already, then it's impossible that you'll see the mistake, because this tooltip is written in a way that's very, very clear, very, very concise. It's not like Shadowbones, right? It all seems to make sense, except for the fact that you place a 5% poison debuff on the target for 3 turns on every hit, and it's a double hitting skill. You apply 2 poison debuffs, not just 1. How has this happened? How do they mess things like this up? That seems so simple, you know, and seems so easy to go back in and fix things like this. So Juliana is a little bit stronger on the surface than she might first appear. That said, she's still a little bit of a power crept epic. Let's be real, right? Our beginner promo link is 100 times better these days as compared to what it was with Juliana. But yeah, her A2, very, very misleading indeed. Next up, and here comes the controversial one, man. I know some people are going to disagree. Maybe it's just me being a moron. But dude, as somebody who writes books, writes novels, as a pastime, as a hobby. It's something I've done since I was like 17. I'm in my 30s now, you know. I've been writing for a long time. The wording of this A3 skill is just nonsensical and it's just ridiculous to me, man. I just didn't know how this skill worked after reading this tooltip like 7 times. Equalizes the HP of all allies. Don't know what that means already, by the way. Like, that's already very, very unclear. The HP levels of all allies will be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP. Then, what does it mean by the level of the ally with the highest HP? Are we talking about percentages? Are we talking about like their flat HP stats, you know? Then heals the target ally by 10% of their max HP. Okay, so like the only bit of this that's clear is the final line. Honestly, a rewrite on this tooltip would be very, very easy. Just delete this first line. You don't need to say equalizes the HP of all allies. That just confuses things right off the get-go. It should just say the HP levels of all allies will be brought up to the percentage health of the ally with the highest HP. That's it. That's all it's got to say, and then the rest of it can continue as normal. And that's like a billion times more clear and is descriptive of how the skill works. I know, Luna, where are you? I can hear my cat mewing. She's angry as hell. And no, she's not hungry before people accuse me of neglect. She's got biscuits down. She's just all excited because I'm talking loud, man. Vixer, what a play, dude. So I'm gonna have to play with her after this video. Okay, so that Sinesha one was more of just a personal rant, to be honest. Back to the actual just misleading tooltips, we've got good old Umbral Enchantress, man, who has a signature skill right here. Attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance bugged of placing a provoke debuff for 2 turns, places an unkillable buff on this champ for a couple turns, and then places a block active skills debuff on this champion for 5 turns. The block active skills debuff cannot be resisted, blocked, and cannot be removed. That is false. That is not correct, okay? This debuff can absolutely be removed, and it can absolutely be blocked. I just wonder if maybe Umbral Enchantress has been out for so long, and like the game has changed over time, and the tooltip just hasn't been updated, but you can absolutely block this debuff with 4 pieces of Stone Skin gear on Umbral Enchantress, right? It will just block the debuff. It just will. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's just incorrect. You can also remove this debuff by simply killing a wave of enemies. It should say it cannot be... I mean, I don't know how they could reword that, to be honest. That's being, like, quite nitpicky. But yeah, if you kill off a wave of enemies in, like, wave content, like Faction Wars or something, and you have this block active skills debuff on you, and you kill the wave, you move on to the next wave, all of your buffs and debuffs get cleaned off anyway. And so, yeah, that's a thing. That's a bit nitpicky, but yeah, the most important thing is this debuff can be blocked by Stone Skin. Very, very interesting kind of oversight there from Plarium, to be honest. And again, maybe we can cut them just a little bit of slack. They do have like 850 champions or something to be managing, and if one of them has an interaction like that, that's very, very unique indeed. And then they release the Stone Skin set. It's quite easy to see how they can overlook things like that. The final champ I'm going to be covering here, and again, get any that I'm missing down below in the comments that have kind of like weird and wacky interactions that you wouldn't think of. Akemtum is one of those champs too, with his passive. So what Akemtum does is spread all kind of hex debuffs, and then he spreads poisons with debuff spread effects across his hexed targets. And the way he works that is somewhat unexpected is via his passive. So he has a 100% chance of inflicting damage from 1 poison debuff to enemies under a hex debuff whenever their allies receive damage from poisons. Basically, if poison goes off on one target, it goes off on all of the hexed targets as well. This damage functions with the stun set, and that's crazy as hell. That's insane to me. For a champ that's already doing quite a huge amount of AoE anyway with his A2, for this passive to be able to trigger stun set can make your Akemtum, if you so choose to build him this way, into a wave control demigod in a stun set. It's just really crazy, right? I'm not sure I can even think of any other passives in the game that would work in this way alongside the likes of like a stun set. And presumably it would also work with things like provoke and cursed set as well. Although you're already applying hex, so obviously the cursed set, who the hell cares, right? And he's an attack champion, why would you put him in provoke? But the point stands, you know, it's just a very, very interesting passive in how this functions. And I think it's one of the only passives in the game that like kind of triggers extra damage on folks and would trigger your artifact sets to proc. Just a very, very interesting champ. And hey, that's all I got, man. There's 6 champions that kind of work in mysterious ways, either misleading ways or with crazy tooltips. or skills and passives that work in ways that you just maybe didn't think of, you know? So there you do go, man. Short and sweet video for today. Get your comments in down below, man, for any weird and wacky champs that we didn't cover in this one. Hey, don't forget the beginner promo link while you are down there. It's one of the best beginner promo links. Go and get your hands on 2 free epic champions. It is always down below at the top of the video description. Click that link and create your new Alt-Raid account. For now, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you all did enjoy this happy little one-off video. Plarium really have to fix some of their tooltips. Oh my god, man. And I'm going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later, man.